What's up everyone, my name's Alpha and today we're back with a Pokemon challenge video. Today we're on Pokemon Sun and today's challenge will be can I beat Pokemon Sun hardcore Nuzlocke using only fighting type shiny Pokemon. So essentially today is going to be a hardcore Nuzlocke using only shiny mono type Pokemon of the fighting typing. It's going to be really interesting. I'm not going to lie, I thought I did this. I've definitely used like every single Pokemon in this challenge at one point or another, but I haven't actually used fighting only in this challenge. I was making this video and then another YouTuber, another PokeTuber that I know posted a fighting only hardcore Nuzlocke. I was like, damn. Of course, every time I do something, there's always someone that already did it before me. Obviously, fighting only has been done multiple times, but I really thought no one's gonna post a fighting only video this week, but a big YouTuber already did it within the week. So let's get into the rule set of this video. So it's gonna be a hardcore Nuzlocke. I can only catch the first and only one Pokemon per route, and they must be a fighting type Pokemon, and they also have to be shiny. On top of that, each of my Pokemon will only have one life. And if they ever faint, they are done, they are boxed, and we will never see them ever again. And as well, there's gonna be a level cap, which is gonna be the highest level of the Island Kahuna. Since there's no gyms in Sun and Moon, we're gonna do Island Kahunas. And as well, on top of that, we have to play on set mode. There are no items inside a battle. We could use hell items, but we can't use bag items, and that entirely should make this challenge a lot more painful than it should be. But a silver lining is that we're gonna add a fun rule. Each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments. So thanks so much for leaving a comment in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after your future Pokemon, but let me know in the comments down below. And if you guys can, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself. I am very thankful you guys are supporting my channel a lot. Our channel is actually booming this month, especially for the Infinite Fusion videos. I would post a lot more of those, but obviously I want to do like hardcore Nuzlocke as well. I kind of gauge everyone's enjoyment by the views and the likes, obviously, because that's the only metric I can really go off of, and what kind of videos I should make based off that. But besides that, let's get into the actual challenge video. So there is no fighting type starter, thankfully. We don't have to shiny hunt for a starter Pokemon in this game or this region right now. So unfortunately, our first fighting type Pokemon is available to us after the first part of the game, the introduction and the tutorial. So we have to go through the Pokemon school, and we also have to beat Alima. So we have to beat like a mini boss already. But once we get there, once we head into Route 2, we can actually find Makuhitas in the wild right here, which is actually a pretty decent Pokemon. Now we can, I think this is the only fighting type Pokemon in the grass, so we could actually just shiny hunt around, and eventually we're gonna find ourselves a shiny Makuhita, which is red. And I have like deja vu. I felt like I've used fighting type only in a hardcore Nuzlocke in Pokemon Sun before. Maybe I'm tripping, but I definitely searched up on my channel to see if I did it or not, and obviously I didn't. So I just felt like I have, but I guess I didn't. I caught the Makuhita. It's my first Pokemon. However, we went into this first trainer battle fight, and they have a Ghastly, and Makuhita has no moves, and it's at level 12. So you know what? You know what, maybe I'll just cut this part out of the video, but I think it's just too funny that immediately the first battle that we came across is the battle we can't actually do anything against. So we have to, we just gotta cut this part out. Lydon gotta kill the Ghastly for us, and then we're gonna put Lydon back in the PC. From there, we're gonna move out into the first trial in the game. We're gonna face off against the Gumshoes in here. The Gumshoes is a normal type trial, and we're able to clear it through pretty easily. Makuhita, contrary to popular belief how we lost the first fight basically, but Arm Thrust is a really good move, and we're able to just beat down the Gumshoes and also Yungoos. And then from there, we can move out into Route 3, which we're able to shiny hunt for our next fighting type Pokemon in here. Our next fighting type Pokemon we can get out here is going to be a Mankey. We're going to shiny hunt for this thing, and once we encounter it, we actually crit it with a fake out and activate Anger Point. I'm not too sure Anger Point's a hidden ability or not, but it's kind of scary. So we went to catch this Mankey, and lucky enough we caught it on the first try, or it might have just killed our entire run because Anger Point gives it +6 out of nowhere. And ironically, this is going to help us as we're going to face off against the first Kahuna in the game. We're going to face off against Hala. Hala is going to be the fighting type Kahuna in the game, and it's going to start the battle off against us with a Mankey. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Mankey. Now, I'm able to go for a Focus Energy, and he went for a Focus Energy as well. And it allows us to actually get critted by his Karate Chop from his Mankey. We survive it, which is nice, but then we're able to activate Anger Points, and we're able to one-shot his Mankey in return. We have enough HP to survive the Makuhita, which I wasn't planning for this at all. I forgot Mankey goes for Focus Energy and always crits me, but survive the fake out from the Makuhita, and then we're able to knock out the Makuhita with a Brick Break. And then his next Pokemon and his final Pokemon will be a Crab Brawler. We also outspeed it easily, and we're able to knock him out with my Mankey. Because of that Anger Point play, we're able to beat down Hala really easily. from there we can move out into the outskirts of Melee Island into the Kai Cenat Hill. Get it? It's not Tencent, it's Kai Cenat because the Twitch streamer. Anyways, we can shiny hunt out here for our next fighting type Pokemon. We're gonna shiny hunt for a shiny Machop, which is gonna be a decent Pokemon. We can't fully evolve it since we're not gonna allow like link trade evolution, since this is the base game and not a fan game, so we don't change the evolution. It's whatever. But most importantly, once we catch this Machop, we're gonna evolve our Makuhita into a Hariyama, which is very important because we're gonna face off against Dexio next. Now Dexio has only psychic Pokemon, so we have to be very careful here. That's why we overlevel a little bit and just knocked out his psychic Pokemon just to make sure we have no worries at all. It didn't look like I struggled at all because I didn't, but Hariyama is just very tanky, and if I didn't have Hariyama, that fight would have been much harder. So from there, we're going to face off against the Water Totem next. We're going to clear through the Water Totem pretty easily. As you can see, Hariyama is a beast, very tanky. We're able to knock out the Wishy-Washis just using Hariyama. Hariyama is such a great Pokemon, very underrated. It's bulky and hits pretty hard. It could take almost any move, at least non-boosted, I'm pretty sure. So that's really sick. From there, we're going to stay in the Brooklyn Hills, and we're also going to shiny hunt for our next Pokemon. Though this Pokemon is not going to be fighting type from the start, we're going to actually catch it and then hold on to it for a little bit. The Pokemon in question is going to be a shiny Poliwag, which we're going to catch it, add it to our team, but not use it right now. And from there, I hate the level cap, it's just like right below where I'm unable to evolve my Mankey and my Machop, which is super annoying. But from there, we can go out and face off against the Fire Trial next. The Fire Trial normally is a little difficult, but with Hariyama actually has guts, so I'm looking to get Flame Body and Burned. So unfortunately, I didn't get that opportunity, but it was there. But from there, we can face up against the Salazzle, and we're able to clear it down in 2 shots with 2 Rock Tombs pretty easily, as we're able to beat down the Fire Trial. And now we can move out into Route 7, where we had no luck of finding a shiny Stuffle. Like, I was like, this is not that difficult to find, is it? Like, could not find a shiny Stuffle at all. Found everything else possible, but not a shiny Stuffle. So we're gonna move on from there, and we're gonna come back to it at a later time. From there, we're gonna face off against the Grass Trial next. We're gonna face off against this Totem Lurantis. We're gonna start the battle off against it using my Hariyama to flinch it, which is a bad idea. I should have just immediately went for a Rock Tomb or Force Palm to lower his speed or get a Paralyze on it. Now it's gonna hit me with a Sword Blade, which I could have went for a knockoff. I think I used the worst move possible, which is Fake Out on my first turn. But lucky enough, I get a Force Palm Paralyze. Though my Hariyama goes down to low HP, so I don't want this thing to go down. I sacrificed my Machop because I think that's the best play here. And then I went out to my Mankey. I know my Mankey can outspeed the Lurantis, so I went out to my Mankey and used Cross Chop. Okay, it didn't miss. That would have been really bad. But I'm able to knock out the Lurantis. I get confused by the Trumbeak, which I'm like, that's not the best. But I was hoping I just landed Rock Tomb. I landed Rock Tomb. It doesn't knock him out. So Plucks can knock me down to low HP. And we have to rely on its confusion right here. And lucky enough, we break through the confusion. Rock Tomb to knock out the Trumbeak. And well, could have been very messy. My Hariyama would have had to clutch. And I think it would have clutched. I'm pretty sure the low HP wasn't good enough. So from there, we can move out. Unfortunately, we lost our Machop, but we can go into the Stone Store. We're going to get our Water Stone, evolve our Poliwhirl into a Poliwrath, which makes him a fighting type Pokemon now, which is great. Now from there, we're also going to go out into the Kala outskirts, which we're allowed to shiny hunt in here for a shiny Stuffle, which we could have got in Route 7, but we didn't. So we're going to find ourselves a shiny Stuffle, and we're going to add it to our team, which is very nice, as we're going to move out and face off against Olivia next. Olivia is going to be the second Kuna in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Poliwrath. Now Poliwrath against her rock type Pokemon, we're able to just, well, we have no water move because we don't get Waterfall, and I don't want to teach it a special water move. So we went for a Hypnosis and then 2-shot the Nosepass down. Her next Pokemon will be a Boulder, which we're able to comfortably knock down with 2 Brick Breaks. Pretty nice. And then from there, well, 3 Brick Breaks, I don't know why. 3 Brick Breaks, and then her final Pokemon will be a Lycanroc, which I stayed in anyways because I'm pretty sure she can't knock me out. So we're able to eventually knock out the Lycanroc and clear through Olivia without any trouble at all. So from there, we're going to evolve our Pokemon and then move out into Mali City, which we're able to get a bunch of TMs out here. You want to get Swords Dance, Aerial Ace, Bodos, all the good ones. I'm not sure about U-Turn, but from there, we're going to move out into the Electric Trial and face off against the Totem Vikavolt, which we're able to clear down just with my Beware. Beware is a broken Pokemon, especially since we have the right ability. This time we have Fluffy, and we're able to knock out the Vikavolt and the Charger Bug pretty easily. From there though, we're going to go back into the Lush Jungle because the hardest trial is coming up and we have to be very careful. So we're going to shiny hunt in the Lush Jungle, and I don't know how I found myself a shiny Passimian before I found a shiny Stuffle in Route 7. but I found myself a shiny Passimian. We're gonna add it to our team, and then from there, Passimian's pretty good. We're able to beat down Guzma with it, and then we're gonna head south of Mali City, and then we're gonna go into this route and then shiny hunt for a shiny Pancham, which we're gonna add to our team and then forget how to evolve it. You'll see why. It gets to the level cap and it's still not evolved. I was like, what? It doesn't need a dark move. For some reason, I got that twisted up. I swear it's dark move. Like, you need a dark move to evolve it. You need a dark type Pokemon on your team to evolve it. So that's probably why I didn't have any problem evolving it back when I used it. That's kind of funny. That's kind of funny how that worked out. Didn't know how to evolve Pancham because of my monotype hardcore Nuzlocke. It's kind of funny. But after that, we're gonna move on and we're gonna face off against the Total Mimikyu, which is the hardest trial in the game. I stand by it. We're gonna start the battle off against it using my Passimian. We're gonna take a play rough, and then we're gonna go for Bodos to lower his speed. So now I can't use my Passimian. I should have taught a U-turn, but honestly, it didn't matter. I mean, it would have done no damage to either one of these Pokemon. I went out to my Beware because this is the only thing that learns Shadow Claw. Now, you guys might be wondering, like, I threw by not evolving my Pancham. Pancham would have been a dark and fighting type Pokemon, so it would have been that great. It would have went down to one play rough anyway, so I think it's better for me that I went for Shadow Claw. Now, unfortunately, I went for Shadow Claw for the wrong Pokemon. I went for Haunter in this situation, as both the Mimikyu and the Haunter misses. We're able to knock out the Haunter, but it spawns a Gengar in and then knocks me out the second turn, so big waste of time there. So I lose my Beware. I go out into my Hariyama, which gets a knockoff off, which is nice, and it just keeps using Mimic against me, and it works out pretty well as we're able to beat down the Mimikyu and also the Gengar. But unfortunately, we lose a very great Pokemon in Beware, which I was kind of relying on to sweep the game. So Beware is gone, kind of disappointing. But from there, we're going to face off against Guzma in Po Town, which we're able to beat down pretty easily. Nothing too difficult here. We almost lose a Primate, but don't worry about that. From there, we're going to face off against Nanu next. Nanu should be an easy fight as he's only a dark type Kahuna. We can go into my Passimian for some reason and then switch out into my Primate and then take a Shadow Ball special defense drop. Yeah, I decided to throw for some reason as I go for a Poison Jab Poison. I think my mind was somewhere else. I don't know what I was doing in this fight, but I clocked in. I go out into my Hariyama, and then Hariyama can knock out the Sableye in 2 knockoffs. His next Pokemon will be a Krokorok, which has Earthquake and almost knocks me out. And I'm unable to knock him out with my Force Palm, so I have to be very careful here too. Lucky a second Force Palm would knock out the Krokorok, and his final Pokemon will be a Persian, which I'm able to go out to my Poliwrath. And Poliwrath eventually will take down this Alolan Persian. It just takes a little bit. I think it has Fluffy as well, where it has doubled the defense for physical attacks. So, interesting. We're eventually able to knock him out, and then we can move out into the Aether Foundation, where we beat down Guzma and also Lusamine pretty easily. So from there, we're going to have to we go into the Ancient Pony Path, which we're able to go for a bunch of island scans. There is 2 fighting type Pokemon we can go after. One is going to be Emboar, and the other one's going to be Conkeldurr. I actually decided to go for Emboar, mainly because I need to face off against Lusamine. I don't really have a check for her Clefable, so we have to be very careful of going through that. I mean, I think Conkeldurr could have survived a Moonblast from it, but I think Emboar is pretty cool. And we haven't used Emboar at all. I mean, we haven't used Conkeldurr. I just want an Emboar. So we're gonna Island Scan for an Emboar and then Shiny Hunt for it as well. We can capture the Emboar, which almost knocks out my Primate. Primate is not having a great time out here, but we're able to capture this Emboar with my Poliwrath and then add it to our team. And then from there, we're going to face off against Hapu next. Hapu's the final Kahuna in the game. We're going to start the battle off against Hapu using my Primate. Now, Primate's able to just immediately go for Bodos and knock out her Alolan Dugtrio, which goes for a Sandstorm out of everything. Her next Pokemon will be a Mudsdale, which I'll go for a Bulk Up, seeing what it wants to do. I just want to take down the Z move from it, so I don't have to worry about it later on. But it decides to use Counter and Heavy Slam multiple times. And I do have an Ipapa Berry on my Primate, so this allows me to go for more Bulk Ups than reasonable. So we're able to get a bunch of Bulk Ups up and eventually go for a close combat to knock out the Mudsdale in one shot, which is surprising because this thing is very tanky. Now her next Pokemon will be a Gastrodon. I was expecting the Flygon. She went for a Gastrodon. So she actually started throwing as I had close combat as well and knock out the Gastrodon. Her next Pokemon will be a Flygon, which I'm pretty sure outspeeds me. So I gotta be very careful here. I gotta switch out. I switched out into my Hariyama. Takes an Earth Power. Not too well. So I went out for a knockoff and misplay. I should have went for close combat. But from there, I can't take another Earth Power. I go out into my Poliwrath. Takes an Earth Power and lowers the special defense, and I'm like calculating in my head. I'm like, I definitely do not survive a second one. So I decided to go out into my Passimian. I take an Earth Power. I'm like, okay, I could just do some chip damage at the very least, and it crits me with an Earth Power, and my Passimian goes down, so I have to go out to my Pangoro, and then finally I'm able to knock out the Flygon using my Pangoro. It takes a little bit extra because I have to use my berry against it, and then I paralyzed it, and then eventually I'm able to knock him out, but it takes a little bit. Kind of annoying fight. We lose Passimian, but I mean it works out because we can go out into this it's gotta be like the pony path, something like that. But we're able to shiny hunt in this grass field for our next shiny Pokemon, which is gonna be a shiny Jangmo. I think we used it so many times at this point. We're gonna capture this, add it to my team. I remember back in the day I was actually grinding them out for Razor Claws because I believe I had a Sneasel, and then I want to evolve it into a Weavile. I remember grinding them out for the Razor Claws because their wild hell items are that for like 5% or 1% chances. But from there, we're going to face up against Lusamine next. Lusamine is going to be the Aether Foundation's main boss. We're going to start the battle off against Lusamine using my Emboar. Now, Emboar actually just starts the battle just going for a Poison Jab and two-shotting down the Clefable, which is very nice. I mean, eventually going to waste some turns, but we're able to knock him out. Her next Pokemon will be a Milotic, which I go out into my Poliwrath. And then Poliwrath's able to go for a bunch of bulk ups in front of him, as her only attacking move besides Hydro Pump, because I have Water Absorb, is going to be Flail. And we're able to knock her down pretty easily. And then her next Pokemon will be a Lilligant, which I switch out into my Hariyama. Hariyama is able to bait out the Petal Dance with a Poison Jab, and then I'm going to go out into my Emboar. We're able to knock out the Lilligant, and then her next Pokemon will be a Bewear, which I do go for a Flamethrower, and since it's a special move, it does a lot of damage through Fluffy. And eventually we're able to knock him out, and her final Pokemon will be a Miss Magius, which my Emboar handles, and looks like it was a great pick to use Emboar, as we're able to beat down Lusamine pretty easily. And then next up, we're going to face off against Gladion next. Gladion's going to be the rival battle fight right before the Elite Four. This should have been really bad for us. Acrobatics almost knocks me out. As you can see, 2 Acrobatics. I don't know how I survived it, but we're able to survive 2 Acrobatics from this Crobat, as I was like, oof, I am sweating over here. And we're able to beat down Gladion though, and we can move out and face off against Hao. We beat down Hao as well, but those fights really painful, really scary fights. From there, we're going to relearn some moves with my Poliwrath and my other Pokemon, and then from there, we're going to move on into the Elite Four itself. So we're going to actually try out the first Elite Four member, which is going to be Kahili. We're going to start the battle off against Kahili using my Poliwrath to go for Hypnosis into the Skarmory, and then I'm going to go out into my Emboar. Emboar is able to go for bulk ups in front of him, and this is a pretty free battle, as I'm able to get a bunch of bulk ups and then Flame Charge into the Skarmory to get my speed boost, and then eventually I'm able to knock out the Skarmory, get a bunch of speed boosts as well. And her next Pokemon will be a Mandibuzz. I'm able to go for a Rock Tomb to knock out in one shot. Her next Pokemon will be a Toucannon, which I'm able to go for a Flame Charge and knock her out as well. Her next Pokemon will be a Crobat, which I go for a Flame Charge, once again knockout. And then her final Pokemon will be an Oricorio, which I forgot is a fire type Pokemon. I went for a Flame Charge and does not knock her out. She goes for an Air Slash and almost knocks me out in return because I forgot it's a fire type. So I went for more Flame Charges. I went for Flame Charge because it's 100% accurate and I won't miss it. So we're able to knock out the Oricorio, but that could have went badly. From there, we're going to face out against Accelera. Accelera is going to be the Ghost type Elite Four member in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Pangoro. We're going to immediately go for a Bulk Up and then Crunch to knock out the Sableye. Through confusion, we went for Bulk Up, so it worked out. Her next Pokemon will be a Frostlass. We're able to go for a Bullet Punch, force her to full restore, and then go for another Bulk Up, which we're able to eventually knock out the Frost. Okay, don't knock out the Frostlass. Come on, Pangoro, just knock out the Frostlass. We're going to force her to use another full restore. I go for a third Bulk Up, and then Bullet Punch will finally beat down a Frostlass. Her next Pokemon will be a Delmise. My smart brain used Bullet Punch against the Delmise and has Energy Ball. I'm able to go for a Bulk Up again. I'm not too sure what I'm doing here, but eventually I'm going to go for a Crunch and knock out the Delmise. Her next Pokemon will be a Paladin, which I go for a Crunch and knock out. And her final Pokemon will be a Drifloon, which I don't want to run into and just knock him out because it's going to knock me out with Aftermath. So I went out to my Emboar to just go for Rock Tombs against him and eventually knock out the Drifloon, which is very nice. We're able to beat down Accelera and we can move out into the next Elite Four member, which I skipped over Olivia for some reason. I went out to Hala first. So we're going to start the battle off against Hala using my Hariyama. Hariyama is able to go for a Bulk Up against his Hariyama, take a close combat, and then go for my own close combat to knock him out. And his next Pokemon will be a Primate, which I go for a close combat. I'm still at neutral. I'm pretty sure I could survive the Primate at least one hit. So, you know, we take that chance. We're able to knock out the Primate, which is nice. His next Pokemon will be a Crabominable, which I'm pretty sure I can outspeed this thing at least. So, I stayed in once again, and we're able to knock out the Crabominable, which I'm able to take down 3 Pokemon with just my Hariyama. And then his next Pokemon will be a Bewear, which I could have just risked it, but I didn't want to risk it as I go out to my Como next. Como was able to go for a Sky Uppercut and not do a lot of damage. I decided to switch out my Como into my Primate, which can go for a close combat to knock out the Bewear. And then his next Pokemon will be which I switched out into my own Poliwrath. And then I'm going to go for Hypnosis as he goes for Submission, and we just keep missing, so nothing's happening at all. Eventually we're able to knock him out with a Brick Break, which is very nice. So we're able to beat down Hala, and now we're going to face off against the next Elite Four member in the game. We're going to face off against Olivia next. Olivia is going to be the Rock type Kahuna in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Haruyama. Now Haruyama is able to go for a bulk up in front of the Relicanth as he goes for a Yawn. And then, you know what, thinking back to it, maybe I should just use Poliwrath to set up, but you know what, I can't change that as I'm gonna fall asleep against the Relicanth. I have infinite Ipapa berries. I'm gonna wake up in front of the Relicanth and then go for a close combat to knock him out. Her next Pokemon will be a Carbink, which I risked it a little bit. I was pretty confident, I was overconfident that I can knock out this Carbink with a close combat, which I didn't. So that was a big oopsie, but it went for Reflect. And I'm like, okay, so what can I do here? I decided to go for a close combat once again because I know it's going to heal up, but I'm going to switch out to my Ember next. Ember is going to take a Moonblast and then go for a bulk up in front of him, as eventually we're going to waste down her turns and then knock her out with a superpower, which is very nice. Her next Pokemon will be a Probopass, which I don't know what to do here. I decided to go out to my Haruyama because it's so tanky, and then I'm able to go for a knockoff and then go for a close combat to knock out the Probopass. Her next Pokemon will be a Lycanroc, which goes for a counter constantly. I keep getting paralyzed as it keeps going for counter, and I'm just like, let me just hit one close combat, and eventually I am able to land a close combat and knock out the Lycanroc because I'm pretty sure it can't do anything to me. And then from there she can switch out into her Alolan Golem, which I'm gonna switch out into my Primate. I'm gonna take a Thunder Punch, but eventually we're able to knock him out with a Bodos, and we're able to beat down Olivia pretty easily. Now from there we're going to face off against the champion in the game, which, wow, actually we're the champion. Professor Kukui comes out and he wants to challenge the champion, but we're going to face off against Professor Kukui using my shiny Como against his Lycanroc, which works out pretty well as we're able to go for a Dragoness in front of him. As he goes for Stealth Rocks, I get a free Dragoness in that scenario, and then he's going to keep going for Stone Edges against me. I'm able to get a bunch of Dragoness. Hindsight, maybe I should have taught. No, I needed all the movesets. I was thinking about using Bulk Up, but I don't think that would have been a play, as I'm able to go for a bunch of Dragonets and then knock him out with a Dragon Claw. His next Pokemon will be a Primarina, which I go for a Poison Jab to one-shot her in the face. And then her next Pokemon will be a Ninetales, which I take this opportunity to go for another Poison Jab. His next Pokemon will be a Bravery, which I go for a Brick Break to knock out. And his next Pokemon will be a Magnezone, which I don't want to lose my Como, so I decided to go out into my Emboar. I want to keep this 6-0 streak alive. Somehow I lost more Pokemon throughout the game and then the Elite Four, as we're able to go for a Flame Charge against the Magnezone and then knock him out with a Superpower. And his final Pokemon will be a Snorlax, which I go out to my Haruyama. I could take any move pretty easily, except that move. I get paralyzed with a Body Slam. I switch out into my Primate. I take a Heavy Slam from him, but I'm able to go for a close combat, and we're able to knock out the Snorlax as we're able to survive 6-0 from the entire Elite Four to the end. And we're able to clear through Pokemon Sun Hardcore Nuzlocke using only fighting type Pokemon. It was a pretty fun ride. Thinking back to it, it's impressive that I didn't lose a single Pokemon in the Elite Four, but everywhere else I have a lot more deaths. And surprisingly, this would rank like in the midpoints of all my Sun and Moon runs, even though I had such a great Elite Four run. So ironically enough, I don't know if I did a lot of misplays. It was just unlucky a lot of times, and I was forced to sacrifice a lot of Pokemon. But anyways, that would do it for this video. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name's been Alpha. Hope you guys all had a great day, and I'm out. Peace.